training for years, loving the gym, training hard, doing everything right, but ultimately I know that you're not seeing the results for all your hard work. Imagine going from that, not seeing results, unsure what to change or even when, to fully receiving full clarity, unlocking complete muscle mummy vibes, hitting 120 kg deadlift PBs, absolutely transforming your glutes, eating the most food you ever have, and confidently getting to the top of your confidence in a confidence photo shoot. Now, that sounds like a bit of me, and I know that you're gonna love every minute of this. That is the transformation of my client Jasmine, who's here with me today. That's where she was when she first started with me over 3 years ago. So she was stuck, not quite sure what to change. She was already training hard, got a background in training with sports, all of that jazz. But we really needed to unlock a few bits and bobs to really start to see some real changes that she's at now. And you did hear me right, 3 years?
That's mad.
3 years? Yes, I know. So, welcome, Jasmine. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
I know.
It's an honor to be on the podcast.
This is your first one, right?
It's my first ever podcast.
Yeah. So be nice, guys. Be nice.
Please.
If you haven't already, jump into the link in the show notes below for Jasmine's transformations, because they are honestly absolutely cracking and absolutely insane. So massive wins. I always have to highlight that because I don't think you give yourself enough credit, because it is incredible. So in this episode, we're going to go head first into Jasmine's journey so far. 3 years working one-to-one with me, going through things she's learned, how we've done it, where she was when she first started with me as a gym girl. So we're going to go through that, as well as the challenges that you face. So we're going to go through a bit of that, and the steps we actually took to transform her physique, grow her glutes, and actually hit all-time PBs in her lifts, and essentially the road to possibly compete in the next few years. Big steps.
That would be insane.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So let's dive. Let's start where you were when you first started with me. I know that you love training. I know that you were still, training before. You were doing your thing. You're pushing yourself in your sets. You just love the vibe of it, for years. But ultimately, we know that you weren't really seeing the results that you sort of wanted to see, and the direction wasn't really there, was it?
Yeah. I think I didn't really know why I was in the gym.
Yeah.
I think I was just in there. I started because I knew that I felt good. Like, it made me feel good, it made me feel strong. I liked it, but I almost, I wanted to take it seriously.
Yeah.
Because everything I do, I didn't want it to just be, something I do. I wanted to know why I was doing it. I wanted to take it seriously. I wanted to make it a part of my life and do it well.
Yeah.
And I knew I kind of needed some guidance for that. But I was like, I don't really know where to start. I don't even know. But I think at that time, I was really willing to kind of be a newbie and to not know what I was doing and to be okay with that. Because before, I totally would have been like, I don't need a coach. I can do it. I can figure it out.
Yeah.
Which, to a certain degree, can be true.
Yeah.
But I think that any good athlete knows they need a good coach.
Yeah.
And I think it's a humbling thing to kind of get into that. But every great athlete has a coach. What, you think Usain Bolt doesn't have a coach?
Yeah, that's so interesting you actually say that, because I would say about 9 times out of 10, it's really, really funny. My clients will actually come to me, and previously we've had a chat, and they'll be like, you know what, I know quite a bit. And then they'll come back a couple months later and be like, so when are we starting?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's sort of that epiphany moment where you're like, and I actually did a story on this. If you are the smartest person in the room, move fucking rooms. If you think you know it all, then you need to fucking move rooms.
Facts.
I think the best coaches have coaches.
Yeah.
I've got a coach, my coach has a coach, their coach probably has a coach.
Yeah.
That is where you really sort of know, I want better for myself than just being like, yeah, I'm cool cruising along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like you said, you can do that, but is it really getting you where you need to be? And also the guessing work behind it.
Yeah, it's so true. And I also think it's very smart of you to have a coach that also has a coach. I'm like, I have a good coach, because she knows that she also needs a coach and can benefit from that. And it's so true. You can always get more knowledge from someone else. There's always going to be someone who's going to have a different approach to it, to any subject matter.
Yeah.
It's like, even people you're studying under, everyone has something to learn. And I think you shouldn't be afraid of that, because I was almost afraid of that, like not knowing. I was like, why don't I know? Like, I want to have it all figured out. Oh, like once I get my PT certification, I know everything. Furthest thing from the truth. So I think, you know, having like finding a coach, that was a big first step for me, but I was willing to kind of be like, Jasmine, you don't know everything. Trust this person who does. And then, I mean, the result, I mean, you know, after like week 1, I was like,
damn.
I was like,
love it.
So
what do you feel like was missing beforehand? Like, before we started, what do you feel like actually was missing from, like, now you've gone through like these stages with me, what do you feel like was missing and what needed to actually change?
I think the biggest thing, definitely nutrition for sure, but even before that, I think following a genuine like program and structure. Like, I don't think I was doing that. I can't even really remember how I was training, but I definitely was not probably doing the same thing every week, totally switching it up, being like, okay, I'm going to train upper body, okay, I'm going to do lower body, not remembering how much weight I was lifting, how many sets. Like, there was no real structure. I was just doing it to do it. So I think I wasn't getting actual progressive overload and actually building. I don't think I was doing anything long enough to actually see progress. And then with that, the nutrition as well. I was definitely not eating enough at all, not fueling my body properly. I was eating good food, don't get me wrong. I've always been very healthy in eating, you know, anything. I was never scared of food. I always had a really good relationship with food. So I wasn't overly restricting, but I definitely wasn't fueling my body properly for what I wanted to see. I was like, but I want to be big. Like, I want, you know, to get the thickness and to have some muscle and to have some curves. But I wasn't, you know, fueling my body properly to then get there. So I think those two things were the biggest, looking back at it now.
I think as well, like, I remember doing your nutrition test week. I actually so vividly remember this.
Do you?
Yeah, because I remember looking at it, and like, obviously it fluctuates quite a bit, and I remember like one of your days was like 1,210 calories, and like the other one was like 1,700. And for how active you were, and all of that, like, again, like you said, it wasn't the quality of food that you were eating, it was just genuinely the quantity of it. And just also like the meal timings and things like that were just a bit, there wasn't much structure to your sort of food, do you know what I mean?
100%.
I think that was like the biggest thing that sort of stood out straight away. I was like, okay, I can see straight away what we need to nip here, and actually go through that. So that leads into like a really great next part, which is essentially, what were your goals, you know, that you wanted to hit and see happen when we actually started, and like as we've gone on, how have they progressed?
Oh, that's such a good question. I don't even think I had any specific goals. I just think I knew I loved it and I wanted to keep doing it. And I wanted to be better. And I think that's like all it like stemmed from. I don't think I was like, oh, like I didn't have a weight loss goal. I didn't have a weight gain goal. There was no real that. I just kind of came in like loving being active and being kind of like an athlete and having a goal, because I definitely am like a goal-driven person, and it just kind of became like just part of my life. So I don't really think I had anything specific, but I knew I wanted to get better. And then now, I mean, I love it so much. Like, you kidding me? I'm like, nothing without the gym. But
literal like identity that we were chatting about. I love it.
It's like, but it really is everything. I mean, I don't see, there's like no downsides of just weightlifting and moving your body, like in any form. If you take it really seriously, if you are competing, or if you just like it because it's fun. Like, it's so good for your overall health and mental and physical. And as you get older and as you age, I mean, I think everyone should be weightlifting. Like,
oh yeah,
everyone.
Yeah.
Like from children to like grandchildren. Like, genuinely, whatever degree that may be, I think it's so good for you. So yeah,
I couldn't like agree anymore. Like honestly, weight training is like the top tier to like
seriously
changes, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really is. Now this is like a bit of a funny question, but when you like first started with me, or like that initial stage just before, did you have any worries about starting with me, or anything that initially sort of stopped you from taking the jump and working with me one-to-one? Because you did mention before, you were like, I actually had the thought of, actually, you know what, I can do this myself type thing.
Yeah, I definitely think I was waiting. I was waiting. I definitely knew I wanted, you know, to work with you, and I think you honestly like were really helpful. And I think that gym community that we were at, the gym group, was really, really helpful in bringing that together, because it kind of was a community of coaches and coaches.
Yeah.
You know, and so I was like, wait, but I want to kind of be a part of that. I was like, they have coaches. Look at all the progress they're making. And because it was such an uplifting community and environment, I was like, okay, it's time. Yeah. Whereas I think before, maybe I wasn't really around enough coaches or like enough bodybuilders at other gyms I had been to previously. But I think I was like, this just kind of seems like the next step.
Yeah.
And then also, you were always just really like consistently there, like slowly nudging me, you know, and like I think everyone was as well, like, you have a lot of potential, like you could, you know, like something could come of this. And I was like, okay, maybe I should get a coach. And then once I did, I mean, no going back. I was telling my friend the other day, I was like, I swear to God, my coach, best thing in the world, like best person in the world, because I was telling her, I was like, I'm going up to Manchester, and they're like, oh my gosh, you're like that close with your personal trainer to do that. I was like, when I tell you, Leah knows everything about me, probably too much, but that's what a good coach is. And also I was like, like genuinely changed my life. Like 100%, like in every aspect. And I mean, I'm just so grateful that I didn't have like a bad coaching experience to start with. You were my first ever coach, and it's been...
That's the thing though. Again, it's funny that you should bring that up, because I speak to a lot of like gym girls, you know, they ask me questions on Instagram, or will reach out through like my other clients and ask me questions, right? And so many people have bad experiences with coaches. Like it's actually, I would say probably like 8 out of 10 will say they've had a bad experience, and then it almost scars them. But it's almost like dating, right?
It is.
It's a great analogy to sort of use it, where it's like you've dated maybe like a, you know, one shitty guy, and then it's like you expect all the other guys to be shitty, but it doesn't always need to be that way. And something I really sort of honed down on is like, when I work to my one-to-one clients, like I genuinely give a freaking shit about you, and like it's not just surface like level stuff. It's like, right, what do you need to do to get your results? What do you need to do to get your, you know, the changes or the goal that we need to do, and reverse engineer it? Cool. What's your lifestyle like? What's the things that are getting in the way? Like it's not just, here you go, here's a plan. Like I think so many people as well think it's just a plan and that's it. Nah, it's like, it's so much more than that, and that's really where we start to see results. Because people are humans, like things come up, people adjust differently. And also like, if I'm throwing loads of volume at you, you know, for training for instance, and you can't recover from it, just as one example, and I'm not one-to-one or touch base with you, you'll just be training through DOMs all the time and making no progress because you feel shit. You know, there's so many things to that, but I always say that it's just that experience. And actually Carla came from the same thing. She had a poor experience with a previous coach, and she literally just thought it was herself, like maybe it's just the way she is. Literally within the first 4 weeks she was like, I cannot believe the changes I've already seen. You know, and she said it's the best thing she's ever done. So I always say like, it's not that, like, it's not about the fact that you've had a poor experience. It's, you know, that's really, really sad. Like I don't want anyone to have a poor experience with any coaches, but ultimately it's like dating, you know. There is not great coaches out there, there's not great guys out there, but there's also amazing guys out there, there's amazing coaches. So it really is about saying, just because you've had one poor experience does not mean that you're not always going to have that, you know. And there's so much power in that. So obviously since working with me and feeling like it's been like the real click for you, what do you feel like are the main differences that you have seen, or differences / results that you've seen from now to like before, even like at the start of the journey?
Yeah, honestly, it's hard for me to say because it's been such a slow, gradual thing. And you know, when you see it every day, like when you see it, you don't really see that much change. But then every now and then you'll send me like pictures from a few months difference or where I used to start. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And then, so it's kind of almost difficult for me to really look back on it sometimes. But I mean, what hasn't changed? Like, oh my gosh. I mean, my mindset around training, I loved it before, but now it's like a whole nother love. Like it's much more mature love. And yeah, my understanding of training, like why I'm doing certain exercises, you know, even I was asking you like recently why I was doing something.
It was your Z press, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And, you know, and then I can see it play out as well. And I can see it through different blocks and different programming that we do. Like even, you know, I remember my hack squat used to be so beyond weak. And then now my hack, I mean, it's not strong. Don't get me wrong, but like we really like worked on a few aspects that that were really weak. And I could see that throughout the different blocks. Like you would kind of take, you know, some load off maybe during a cutting phase. And then it was like, okay, now we're building again. So we're going to like go wham on those quads. So, you know, just my understanding of that and then understanding each step and process as well. Like it is and it does take time. Yeah. Like then again, from at the end of my first cut versus the end of my second cut. I mean, are you kidding me? Yeah. Like I felt small. I didn't really feel like I was holding on to that much muscle. I was like, now I just feel skinny again. By the end of my second cut, I was like, I feel like the best I've ever felt. I still, like, I wasn't even really that fatigued. I didn't feel like I had even really gone through a cut. Yeah. It was just kind of a natural thing. I was holding on to so much more muscle. I felt so confident. And then once again, going into a bulk, I'm not afraid to bulk. I'm not afraid to cut. I'm like excited for the phase and the step. And I'm like almost excited to like do it again so that I can grow even more and put on even more muscle. Yeah,
it is that gradual process, isn't it? And I think also understanding that those phases are so key. Like at the start, we actually put you through a reverse diet, didn't we? So we actually started increasing calories when you first came in, consistently getting you to a high point. I think we got your calories around sort of 2,500 mark. And then we did your first sort of like mini cut, and that's sort of the basis that you said, I don't feel as much, I have got as much muscle tissue. And this is what I sort of say to so many people that, you know, a lot of the time, unfortunately, like when you do cut, if you feel by the end of your cut that you haven't got a lot of muscle tissue, it's because you haven't spent a long time building it. Yeah, and actually structurally being in a build. And I think so many people get almost a bit nervy of like the word bulking as well. Like they feel like they have to go to one extent or the other. If you do a build right as well, yes, ultimately there will be just stages that you feel a little bit more uncomfortable, like it's natural. But it shouldn't be to a point where you're like, you don't recognize yourself, you know? And I feel like if a build is done right, you can strategically put in mini cuts or pullback stages to get you to a place where you still feel confident the whole way through. And like we've done your build, like your previous build, that went on for like anywhere between, obviously I've got your data straight up here, but around sort of 6 to 9, 10 months, I think. It was quite a while, So I think too often what the main thing I see when I speak to people is people bulk for like 3 to 4 months. And then they say, I gained so much weight so quick because they're just trying to eat everything inside versus treating a build the same way they would a cut, you know? I think that's so key. And I think that's been the biggest part, like you said, to your results, changing wise. What about any like specific goals that you've hit or like changes that you've seen? Is there any like anything at all like specific?
Physique wise?
Physique, strength, go for it.
I mean, recently I'm not gonna lie, my quads, I don't know where they came from because I've never had any quads.
Yeah.
I just, you know, my leg, they're so long. My leg's really long. It's hard to develop them, I feel like. But I'm really proud of my quads. Let's just say that, because I've been working really hard on growing them. Same with my delts as well. But I feel like we've also focused on that a lot. And that's another fun aspect, just kind of about bodybuilding in general, is like, all right, this is lacking. Let's put some extra work into it. And then when you do it right and you have a coach that has the knowledge, it does work. Yeah. You know, and you just have to stick to it and work with it. You know, I remember doing lateral raises at the end of my leg sessions. Yeah. You know, at one point it was like, always got to throw in the lateral raises. Yeah. I think, I mean, once again, I think I take it for granted, because I'm like, oh, I'm not getting stronger. I'm not like able to do anything. I think I found a video of myself like dumbbell pressing like 12 kg the other day, and I was like, that's the cutest thing. I was like, look at her, they're like 12 kg.
How much are you pressing now?
I mean, I'm not even dumbbell pressing at the moment, but
barbell?
I mean, I don't even know. What am I doing? Like,
you were 45, weren't you, the other day?
I think I was 40. No, 40. But I'm close grip. But it's close grip.
It's close grip right now. But you went up to 20s on your dumbbell press.
I did go up to 20s.
22s actually,
I think so. Yeah. I think so. Well, I think when I was doing incline, I think I was up to... No, okay, let's put it this way. I was shoulder pressing the other day. Yeah. I think 17. Yeah. Which is pretty good.
That is good. Really good. Really good.
Guys, I'm not strong. Like, I'm not strong.
Stop. But rewire you are strong. You have to rewire.
Yeah, okay, don't listen to me. I am strong.
Deadlift's a great example for you, though. And even your squats, so like your compound movements.
Oh my gosh. I mean, my front squats, that as well. I finally have put like a plate on each side. Yeah. Insane.
But it's not even just the strength itself, it's actually your form execution as well.
Well, and this is what I'm saying. I'm confident in the form. Yeah. And in the weight. And that feels... I mean, it took me a while to get there. Like, it was just over and over and over again. Like, it was like, I'm lifting the same way.
Until, like, literally it was like, when it... Yeah. Because we put those little things in place, like those tiny little cues.
Yeah. But then also not getting discouraged by the weight as well. Yeah. Sometimes it's quite hard being in a gym like MuscleWorks, where everyone is a literal bodybuilder. Yeah. And, you know, you're there with your, you know, you have the cute gym fit on. You're supposed to, you know, you're strong. Maybe people expect you to lift a little bit more. Yeah. I know my boyfriend makes fun of me, and he's like, why are you not lifting a lot? And I'm like, I never said I was strong. Yeah. I might look it, but I'm not. And... you know, you have these guys squatting 5 plates on either side, and you're there with your little 10 kgs, but
those 10 kgs have
got
those quads.
This is what I'm saying, like, not get discouraged, do your thing. Yeah. And once again, no one cares, but it's also, like, it's gonna take time. Yeah. It's gonna take time. Also, don't compare yourself to a bodybuilder who's been lifting for also 30 plus years, maybe. Exactly. And you're on maybe year 3. Yeah. It does take time. Muscle growth takes time. Yeah. So you have to... anything good takes time. So you just got to keep putting in the work. Just show up every single week, and then, you know, throw in your 1.25s and...
Literally. I think the main thing as well is, like, with yourself is every single stage you've been through in the phases that I've taken you through, you've dedicated just as much, like, discipline and hard work in them. Yeah. Like you would a cut. You know, so you same discipline as you would a reverse, same discipline as you would in your build. Yeah. Like, I think a lot of people sort of think, oh, I'm building now, I don't need to track, or I'm building now, I just sort of I'll train hard, but like it's not as much, you know, or like when they're cutting, it's like, oh, I haven't got as much, I don't feel as great, so I'm not going to put in as much work into my training, or, you know, things like that, where actually the same amount of like focus that you have in each phase is actually where we start to really unravel like some crazy gains.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I think the whole like process of bodybuilding, it's definitely not easy. And even I think in the beginning, I think now that I've been training for quite some time, it is like it is kind of natural to plateau almost. Not that you're not seeing any growth, but just to get to a point where you're not making those like, you know, your baby gains anymore, and you're like, okay, I'm kind of just here again. And then, you know, you're telling people, you're like, oh, I'm in a bulk again. They're like, again?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? Like, what's your goal? Like, what's going on? And it really is kind of, it can be quite just like, you just got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
You're just showing up, isn't it?
Yeah, showing up, and that motivation, and like why you're doing it for yourself, and like making sure you're doing it for the right reasons, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think now that I do have so much experience, I don't even really have to put in that much work to actually, like, people are like, oh my God, I can't believe you're so good at meal prepping. And I'm like, I didn't even think about it.
It's just a second nature.
It's just what I do, because I'm like, well, I know I'm going to be hungry and someone needs to eat, and the gains, you know? So it does, it's hard in different aspects, but then also some aspects do get easier. Yeah. Like the nutrition side of it, now I've been weighing my food for so long, I can tell you how many grams that banana is, things like that. So there are aspects that do get easier.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think as well, like the biggest thing that's improved with yourself, like I mentioned a little bit before, was just those small tweaks to macros themselves, macro like distribution, but also throughout the day, like your meal timings. Like I remember like breakfast wasn't really like a big thing when you first started with me. Like even around training, it'd be like a couple hours since you'd eaten, or like, you know, maybe not even any food around training. Post workout, not much like sort of strategy behind like what we're sort of eating. Where like, what would you say is different with your eating structure now, and like how you fuel yourself? Yeah, I mean, definitely pre and post workout now are like my main priority, I think. And obviously I'm just like, give me all the carbs pre-training and post as well. So really focusing on that. And it's like the easiest, smallest tweak, isn't it? Yeah. You know, 40 grams of carbs, you know, when maybe you're on a cutting phase, and then now you're in a building phase, and that 40 went to 60. Yeah. You know, or you have, you know, maybe a bigger piece of banana or some extra honey. It's the same food. That's the thing with a cut or a bulk. I'm eating the same food. Yeah. And that's why it's not hard for me. Because I mean, it's the same food. It's just different quantities. Yeah. And understanding that and still allowing yourself to eat what you want to eat and enjoying those things is also makes it much easier. Yeah. So, yeah, it's so true. Those small tweaks. And then after not, like fueling yourself properly after your lift, so you're not completely fatigued and feeling like shit. Yeah. Smallest thing. Whereas before, I remember I used to train, I would have to take a nap after I trained every single time. Really? Just because I would have like what, maybe a cute little like protein shake, like the little grenade protein shakes with like, you know, it's just full of sugar anyways, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. But I was just so exhausted. I was just so fatigued. I was like, that training session took me out. Whereas now, when I do eat before and after properly, like properly good meals with like, you know, obviously protein and carbs and, you know, all the good stuff, I'm like, I feel amazing. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Yeah, I'm like, let's go again. Like, do I have Stairmaster today? Honestly, now that I'm building, I'm like honestly sad when I don't have cardio. There we go. That's when I know you're my client for a long time. Literally. Because I started to like the Stairmaster before. I couldn't even be on it for 5 minutes without feeling like I was dying. Yeah. Like, I don't know, my VO2 max was probably not that great. Well, it's definitely improved. But from my programming, it's definitely improved. Yeah. You know, getting that higher. So yeah. So now I just I'm like, oh man, I kind of want to go on the bike, like just extra movement. Like I really like crave that now. Yeah. You know, and I feel good after it. So sometimes I'm like, oh damn, no cardio today. Yeah. You got 2 a week. We still got you. No, still got you kicking. No, it's good. It's good. It will get there. Once your cut comes in, you're like, I wish I didn't say that. Yeah, I know. But we'll see. Like 30 minutes of stairs kill me. Yeah. What would you say is like your favorite thing that you've learned so far since working with like me one-to-one, and actually what do you feel like it's helped with? Because we touched on a few bits, but if you were to sort of like cluster together your favorite thing, what do you feel that is?
Everything.
Everything.
Am I allowed to say that?
I feel like that's quite a good answer.
Is that a cop-out answer?
Do you feel like everything comes together though with like the coaching, like in itself, like nutrition rolls into obviously how you feel training? When I give you your plan, obviously your training and how you perform is a certain way, how you recover because of the plan. Like, do you feel like it's all?
Yeah. I feel like there are certain things I don't even think about that you're thinking about. Yeah. And that's honestly why I have you as a coach. Because sometimes, my life is quite busy. I have a lot of other things going on. And sometimes I'm just like, you know what? My coach, she's got it. And then it's like I can follow if someone tells me what to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm not even thinking about my recovery or like what I need to do, or just overall, like sometimes maybe even something as small as like maybe not prioritizing my hormone health, and you even looking at my food and being like, okay, just make sure you're getting in a little bit more like fatty fish or something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes which I know, I obviously know that, but sometimes I don't have the time, or maybe I just forgot, or I'm not even really seeing it, or I do my check-in pictures. I don't look at them.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to analyze my check-in pictures. I'm like, they're gross. I'm in the morning. I don't think they're cute. And then, so that's why I send them to you. And I'm like, she'll give me the feedback that I need, and then I can do it. But it's like, I think it's just everything. And I completely trust you. Mm-hmm. So that's why I think like being 100% transparent, giving you that information, letting you do what you're good at. Yeah. And then being able to follow it. Yeah. I know that's a cop-out answer.
No, it's not. And I think that's really interesting you say that as well with the transparency. Like, I think with a lot of my clients, that's a big part where I do know so much about their lives, but also like the more information I do have, it tends to be way better because I'm able to actually cluster, okay, we need to change this, or okay, I know this is going on with you right now. It'd be stupid if we were to add this or take away this. Do you know what I mean? Where your body would just get more stressed, or it's not going to respond this way. Where I know a lot, I've got a lot of coach friends, and I know sometimes people generally don't tell the truth to their coaches, and it's so much power when you fully have that good relationship with your coach to be able to fully tell the whole story, because I think it's so important for your overall plan, but also progress. So I feel like that is a really, really big thing. I was obviously going to ask you next, but I feel like I know the answer. I was going to say, is there anything particular that you feel like, that you found the most, that you like about coaching? Like anything that you like the most about, obviously, like working with me, but I feel like
you know the answer.
From the last answer, I feel like...
Yeah, literally everything. I mean, yes, continuing on that point, another thing I realize that I love and that you're so good at is knowing when to tell your clients to take a step back, and when you need a deload week, and when you need some extra recovery. If I was training myself, I would never give myself a break. I was like, what? You're fine. So even something like that, I really appreciate. That's another thing. I mean, I appreciate it all. Sometimes I honestly don't even want to say anything because I'm going to ruin her magic. I just want to let her do it and follow. Honestly, everything. I love your programming. Like, it's always, even if at the beginning I'm like, maybe not my favorite. By the end of the program, I'm like, my favorite.
You're like, I love it.
Yeah.
You're like on week 16, you're like, let's go again. Yeah. I want to keep running
Seriously.
it.
Like, I hated front squats. Yeah. Now I'm like, I love my front squat day. Yeah. Same with hack squat. Same with even like maybe a movement that's a little bit more challenging. Yeah. Where I'm like, maybe not that strong in it. By the end, I'm like, it's my favorite now.
That's the key thing though, isn't it? Because when you first hate it, you then send me your form clips that we do every single week. Yeah. And from that's when I give you like the smallest tweaks. I want your foot positioning to be a tad bit wider, so it's a little bit wider than hip. Hip. Yeah. Or for instance, like when I'm watching your set and you're like doing the tappy feet, I'll call you out on that. And then I'll actually say, when we're at the bottom of the movement, make sure you're pressing your feet into the ground, so that when the weight comes down, you're able to almost like have a counter force. You're pushing your feet as we push the weight up. Yeah. And then lo and behold, the next week when you actually apply it, it's so much easier.
Yeah. It really is the smallest thing. Yeah, because it's so true. As once you've been lifting for quite some time, you're like, okay, I know my form is good. And it's not shit form, but then it is the smallest things. And that's why it is great to film and record your sets, and you can watch back. I mean, sometimes I'm like, what was I doing? Yeah. Like, I'll watch a set and I'm like, no.
That's not cute.
I'm like, that's not right. I'm like, go again, Jess.
Yeah. That's the thing though, isn't it? Like, the type of clients I coach are gym girls that have been already in the gym for years, right?
Yeah.
Already doing their thing. It's not that I need to teach them how to squat. It's not that I need to teach them how to do an RDL. What I do need to teach them and help them with, and when they come on board, is the smallest freaking tweaks. Like, literally, like, I want to get a key and literally just turn it.
Yeah.
And that's where we really start to see some, like, real results.
So
it could be even, like, hip positioning when we do an RDL, knee positioning, foot positioning.
Yeah.
It could be even, like, how we're holding the load, the tempo that we're under. Like, this is where we start to take okay results into sick results.
So true.
You know, and you're literally evidence of that, so that is great. I was going to ask you another question, but I feel like we've already answered that. You've already, like, covered this all. I'm loving it. What do you feel like holds other gym girls back, you know, that come to this podcast? They're listening right now. You know, they're listening, we're in their ear holes, they're enjoying this.
In your ear.
Who are, you know, they're already training hard, they're showing up, they're, you know, possibly tracking their food, maybe they're tracking just their protein, maybe they're even tracking their full macros, or coming from another coach and, you know, they're not seeing the results, they're not seeing any changes from it. What would you say to them to really sort of, like, where would they start? Like, what do you feel like they need to do?
Leah as your coach.
I did not pay her to say that.
You're welcome.
Oh my god.
No, she didn't pay me to say that, but now I'm looking directly at you.
I love that.
And I'm telling you, genuinely changed my life.
That's a bold statement.
No, it's a really bold statement, and I will stand by it.
You know what? I'm actually that's a great answer. Again, I don't think I can get any more better answers. This is great.
Yeah, I'm being dead serious, but now, because you're gonna have so many people in your DMs being like, "Oh my God, Leah, I want you as a coach." If you can't get Leah as your coach, get a coach.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest step.
Yeah,
it really is. It's a difficult one. It's almost like kind of admitting maybe I need some therapy. Let me go to therapy. It's a difficult first step, but it's one that's worth it. I think if you genuinely want to make some change, I think that is the next logical thing.
Yeah.
And get a coach where your goals align. Like you said, it is like finding a boyfriend, like dating. You're going to have to find a coach where your goals align, that care about you. And especially for females, I think I took this for granted, but also someone who does take into granted that you are a female and you cycle. I mean, one of the first questions you ask in our feedback form is what day of your cycle are you on, which is so important, which I just kind of, it's not I didn't have education around it, but I didn't really have education around your cycle and being a female and how your body fluctuates, how you can, you know, help that. I mean, our hormones literally change so much.
Yeah.
So I would say that's another really important aspect. And I think a male coach can do that for females as well. I don't think it needs to just be one side or the other. But get someone who genuinely cares and your goals align, and that, get Leah as your coach, basically.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
So I think you're happy with the coaching experience, if I would say. Is that...
She does have a gun pointed at me. No, I'm just kidding. Imagine. Denzel's here just shotgun now.
The whole, however long we've done this. Oh my God.
No. Yes, I am extremely happy with the coaching. I mean, beyond. I mean, I swear, like, it almost feels like I'm being overly dramatic. And oh my gosh, I'm almost making it up. But I'm genuinely not. Like, I mean, I wouldn't stay with you, obviously, if I didn't like the coaching. I mean, every aspect of it, I think, has helped me so much, you know? And I think recently, like, the training stuff, I pretty much have that down. I think recently we've gone a little bit more into, like, being mindful as well, like, how it's, your you're almost like my life coach as well. Like it's not just about that hour and a half I spend in the gym and that's it.
Yeah.
It's everything. It's like, how much sleep are you getting? What are you doing when you wake up? Like how, you know, and then also what are you doing outside of the gym? Like how can we support you like here? So, I mean, it's just, it's great. You care so much. It doesn't feel artificial at all. It feels very natural.
Yeah.
But I also I feel like it took time as well.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just like, oh my God, now I'm going to tell you my whole life story and it's going to instantly connect.
That's where the trust really builds, isn't it? Like I really make sure with, like when my clients come on board that they really do know like I genuinely give a damn about them, and also like I am here, and that's when people start to really open up, and that's when I really start to see them flourish, you know. And something I'm so proud of, and I actually looked at this the other day, was my client like average length of time is actually 2 to 3 years, and you're my longest client. So
am I?
Yeah.
Oh.
And you were actually my first online client.
Was I?
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
So to give you like an actual, obviously I was doing one-to-one beforehand. But like actual online.
Yeah.
So literally people have stayed with me for my whole coaching.
Yeah. As they should.
Well, I didn't realise that average is about 4 months. Did you know that?
That's horrible.
Average is about 4 to 6 months. I didn't know that.
That's horrible. I didn't know that either.
Because people change because they're unhappy. Like dating, innit?
Sounds like a relationship. That's what I was going to say. It's like 4 to 6 months. Sounds about right. Yeah.
You know?
I mean, true.
So, yeah.
I'm telling you, I have the best coach. That's all I'm going to say.
There we go. I love it. When I actually hear those things and when my clients send me stuff, it actually makes my whole like day, because I love doing this. But you know, when it's just like, damn, I love it. Like I love it.
Yeah. No, you really are like saving lives. Like it's mad that you might not be a doctor, maybe you're not doing heart surgery, but genuinely like what you do and like how you care about your clients, it's like you can see it from your clients, and it's just obvious like growth. Like, you know, as a whole, like human being, like as a whole person.
Growth is such a key word, isn't it? It really is. It's like taking to that next level. It's really like unlocking the key to, okay, where am I going to be in a year's time, 2 years time? What do I actually want to do? Not just in the gym. Like actually, where does my health want to be? Career wise, like am I sort of confident and driven in other places? I think it's so powerful.
It's very admirable, like too, as you know, just a human being, like as a person, to want to take that next step. It's just like, okay, you're doing well, you got, you know, X, Y, and Z down, but I think to level up, to go to that next step, you have to take a big jump. And I think getting a coach and taking that seriously is the next step for a lot of people. So whenever I see someone with a coach, I'm like,
damn.
Yeah.
I think as well, it understanding it doesn't feel comfortable sometimes. Change does not feel comfortable. I think that's so overlooked, where actually if we feel uncomfortable when we do something, you know something good's about to happen.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I think just changing and flipping that mindset is so key to growth and overall like change. I've been you know, I feel it all the time with business. So actually going, right, I don't feel comfortable right now, this is challenging, but actually I know that this is going to help me in the next 6 months, whatever it is.
100%.
Final question for you, and I actually am quite interested to see what you say.
Oh no, I'm scared.
If you could sum up our journey together in one word or phrase, because I'll let you have a phrase because I feel like one word.
One word?
What would it be?
Oh gosh. You gotta give me like at least 15 seconds to think about it.
Okay, I'll put the countdown clock on right now.
Oh gosh. Okay, I got it.
You got it? You're locking it in. You're locking it.
I'm locking it in.
Is that how many words you had when you're thinking, oh shit, she's put me on the spot here?
I'm locking it in.
Okay, you're locking it in.
Okay, are you ready for this one? This is a little piece of Jasmine, okay?
Okay, go.
Okay, you ready? Climb every mountain.
Climb every mountain.
Okay? This is the song from The Sound of Music, okay?
I love that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm a big Sound of Music fan. I say climb every mountain, and that's just what it's self-explanatory. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Say it in your own words. I don't want to say it in your own words. Whatever comes to mind with that. I want you to explain what you mean by that, because I know what you mean, but...
I feel like basically with Leah as a coach, I can climb every mountain. I can do all the hard things with Leah, and I have. And every kind of plateau, when I feel like it's really hard, when I feel like I can't get to the top of the mountain, I'm like, but I can, because I trust my coach, and I have done it. So I've been able to almost, every time when I'm like, can't train today, can't pick up that heavy weight, I don't know about this food, I can't eat this fourth meal, it's too much food, or I'm hungry or anything, when it feels like a mountain to climb, I'm like, but we can do it. And it's that slow, like, chip away, and I know that I can do that with you.
Aww.
So climb every mountain.
I love that. I actually love that. I was not expecting that, you know?
No?
No. I love that.
I was inspired by Sound of Music.
I love it.
Yeah.
You love your music, so I get it.
I do.
Well, I think that was, I mean, I'm beyond happy with that podcast. That was great.
Yeah,
I love
that
going
was
through
so
your
much
journey.
fun.
I love it. So obviously, that was like what you've been through and things like that. Now we're obviously going through your build. You've done your confidence photo shoot. You've got your next one coming up, doing it in your build.
Insane.
So that's going to be really, really fun. That's in 4 weeks. I think I need to double check. 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's going to be exciting.
I know, it's going to be fun.
Doing a shoot mid bulk. Love it. That is literally my type of my clients. You know, all of you are up in a bulk right now and doing a shoot. All of you.
Honestly.
No one is cutting. No one is cutting. Everyone's mid bulk.
Bring on the curves, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Love it.
Yeah.
So we got exciting things to sort of plan up. I'm excited. I feel like the next few years are going to be epic. Like, you know, when you say climb every mountain, we're really talking like, I feel big things are coming for you. I've always said it, and I'll hold you to that standard. You're like,
I'm like climb every mountain. See, this is why I need a coach to tell me this, because
sometimes though I feel as well, and I have this conversations with other clients as well, actually. I think I had it the other day. Sometimes we're our worst enemy in the sense that we almost don't see how far we've come. Like you even said in this, like, I won't look at my check-in photos, but then, you know, I'll show you like for instance, when I gave you a refeed, do you remember the difference between your back and your glutes?
Yeah, that was
with
insane.
2 days of different food.
Yeah.
Would you have noticed that if I didn't point it out?
No.
Or, you know, for instance, the growth in your photo shoot, and I gave you your before, which was the end of your first cut.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't even, like, you'd been like, yeah, look, I feel good, but you wouldn't be like, holy damn.
No, exactly.
That is insane.
Yeah. Definitely, like, also my toughest critic as well. Like, definitely not seeing, you know, the wins as much. So, but then also taking a step and taking a step back and being like, okay, we need to appreciate where we are now, instead of being like, okay, what's next? Yeah. And reflecting on how far you've come, super important. But yeah, it's hard sometimes to do that. So you have to go out of your way and be intentional with that, especially for me. Yeah. But yeah,
it's funny because I actually work with a lot of individuals who are such driven individuals, like either they're athletes, you know, grown up with sports, so they're very like driven, you know, goal orientated, or people that just genuinely like are striving for better, like continuously, so they're very high achievers. And something I see all the time with clients and always sort of hold them to is not noticing the wins, or sort of brushing them to a side a little bit. And what I actually have started to implement in the last year with a lot of you is, whenever you do have a win, so for instance, like you hit a PB, it's not oh, I hit a PB and then just got on with your day. It's like I actively, or like, oh, I've just got, you know, I've seen the difference, or I've just run half a marathon, whatever, what's next? It's like, no, I want you to stop for a second. I actually want you to do something to celebrate. Like, I want you to pause, come away, have a meal off tracking, go out, enjoy yourself, whatever you enjoy, and actually take a step to be like, you know what, I'm going to embed in my subconscious right now that this is a win. 100%. Because that in itself will be like confident building for yourself, and actually allow yourself to, damn, you know what, I've got so much evidence that I can do all these hard shit, I've got so much evidence that, you know what, even though I'm going through something tough right now, I've got all this evidence previously telling me that, you know, I showed up on that day that was really tough. This life event happened and I still did, you know, everything I was meant to do. You know, so this is so much evidence that we need that in the future, life will happen. But ultimately, you've got that evidence that you go, you know what, I stopped, I've shown myself, I can do these things, I did amazing things, I can do it, I can do this next hard thing.
100%.
And I think that's so much power in that, to actually stop and celebrate those small wins, small, big, whatever they are, and actually like allow yourself to be like, you know what, I'm going to do something for me today. And like, for instance, I'm pretty sure I've done this with you. Like, for instance, when you went out for a roast, or when you, it was a couple of weeks back, and I think I was like, you know what, I want you to have like a you day, or like, like a pull back day, I think it was. And I was like, I want you to do something for yourself. I can't remember exactly what you did, because it was a couple of weeks back. I know you went for a roast by yourself. You took yourself out for a day.
I did do that. Well, I think my most recent like do something for myself was I took myself on holiday.
That was it.
Austria. So that was a big, because I didn't do anything. I just went in the sauna, I went in the spa, I went on hikes. Best thing. Because I love my solo trips. They're like my favorite thing ever. So, and that I have to push myself to do that, because it is a bit of a luxury. And I have to make sure, okay, I request time off work, and I'll put a little extra spending money away. But then I love it every single time.
And it makes you feel amazing.
It makes me feel so good. And I take myself for facials. I'm like the best date. Like, honestly.
Love it. Love it. I love it so much. But that is all from us, guys. So I'm going to wrap up. You know the drill. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping. So if you guys can, massively, massively appreciate it if you give us a review. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to give us a like and subscribe. But if you guys have found this helpful, please give us some love, but also drop me a DM on Instagram, coached.by.leah, and I'll have a little chat with you guys. But apart from that, so lovely to have you.
Thanks for having me.
And also, I want to highlight, I think Jasmine is great on the podcast.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's because we have these like chats and stuff, and now it's like actually recorded, so we're like, damn.
We should have recorded when we first got it. That was good. That was some juicy stuff as well.
We did a little bit in my vlog, I have to admit. We did in my vlog, but I don't know what happened. I think the storage stopped there, so that was great. But that is all from us today. Have a lovely day, whatever day it is for you guys, and I'll see you in a bit. Bye.
For the YouTube.